Welcome, everyone. This is No Bones About Wrestling. I'm your host, Asa, and of course, I'm here with Kay Fabulous.
Hey.
And this is the first episode. We're doing something new here. We have a brand new show. It's called This Week in AEW, where instead of doing multiple shows a week, we're doing, just like it sounds, we're doing everything in AEW in 1 week. So it goes from last Wednesday to yesterday, Tuesday. And of course, some news will be from, not yesterday. It goes from last Wednesday to today, which is Tuesday. We'll be covering matches, news, rumors. We have some different things that we're trying. We're going to have a ranking system. We're going to have a topic of the week we do. We got some different things in store for you. And so let's see how it shakes out. First off, though, I'm just going to get to it real quick and read off the match results for this past week. All right, AEW Dynamite, August 16th, 2023. They were in Nashville, Tennessee. International title match, Orange Cassidy pinned Wheeler Yuta. That was 4.5 bones. In tag team action, Darby Allin and Nick Wayne beat the Gates of Agony, 2/3 of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. Gave that one 2 bones. Very hard to swallow that result. In the Texas Chainsaw Massacre match, it was a mess. Jeff Jarrett pinned Jeff Hardy after interference from 10 different people. I gave it 1/2 of a bone because at least Leatherface showed up. In a match to determine who would be in the women's 4-way at All In, Dr. Britt Baker pinned the Bunny. That was 3 bones out of 5. And the Young Bucks beat the Guns in a match that was 3.5 bones out of 5. AEW Collision was August, what was that? 19th, 2023. The opening match, Ring of Honor World Television Champion Samoa Joe came down to the ring, but he was jumped by the jobber who was going to face him. He got jumped ahead of the bell. He got a high knee in the corner and then got to go to sleep. And then it gets revealed that it's none other than Phil Brooks, CM Punk. So the match was a no contest. We never got to see him, and he was dressed in head to toe in this skin-tight golden outfit with vampire fangs on the chest of it, and was a character called the Golden Vampire, appropriately enough. And I tell you, ever since it happened, I can't think about anything else except the Golden Vampire.
I love it.
So yeah, we had a no contest there, and what happened was CM Punk knocked him out with the go to sleep and got on the mic and said, "I accept, bitch," and left. And that was the only time we saw CM Punk on this episode of CM Punk and Friends, as we call it. Next up, Switchblade Jay White pinned Dalton Castle, 4-bone match. Very good match. In trios action, Juice Robinson and the Guns beat the Iron Savages. That was 3.5 bones out of 5. In a squash match, Big Bill pinned Derek Neal. In ladies action, Willow Nightingale pinned Diamante. Very solid match, 4 bones out of 5. In another squash match, Powerhouse Hobbs pinned Kevin Koo. And in the main event of AEW Collision, Darby Allin pinned Christian Cage. Very good match. I gave it 4.5 bones. So 2 4.5 bone matches this week. Darby Allin's victory over Christian, and Orange Cassidy's successful international title defense over Wheeler Yuta. But the match of the week is going to Orange Cassidy beating Wheeler Yuta.
Good choice.
Excellent match. Those two guys are so well matched. They have a good chemistry in ring. Their moves answered one another. and I didn't think Yuta had a chance going in, but by the end of it, I thought there was a chance of him winning, so that's good on them for being able to sway me a bit. And it was just a fantastic match. Nothing against Darby and Christian, but just Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta edged them out there.
Their stars shined a little brighter.
Yeah, and as for Collision, it's weird, so many jobber matches. We had CM Punk dressed as a jobber. We had Juice Robinson and the Guns beat the Iron Savages. Who the fuck are the Iron Savages? We had Big Bill pin Derek Neal. Who the fuck is Derek Neal? We had Powerhouse Hobbs pin Kevin Koo. Who the fuck is Kevin Koo?
Okay, but the Iron Savages, I feel like, are a new tag team that they're introducing. I don't think they're a jobber team.
They're 0-2.
Well, they're just having a rough start of it.
And their gimmick is they like eating ass.
What?
They were talking about it on the television the other night. They made some reference to...
What are you talking about?
I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to be that kind of show. But they're the ones that made a reference to it. So if you want to, you can go search for it yourself.
I don't want to.
Yeah. I don't want to be that kind of show talking about that kind of thing. But
okay.
So the next thing, I just wanted to get the results out of the way real early. So that's what we'll be doing, is giving you the results for Dynamite, the results for Collision, the two main shows. Rampage, which is kind of pretend like it doesn't exist. Kind of the way Tony Khan does.
Rampage is good.
Hey, I love Rampage, but yeah, we may start adding the matches to it.
Mm-hmm.
But up next, what we're going to do is something I've been wanting to do. And so Kay Fabulous and I have devised our own rating system. So after much debate, after much hand-wringing, after much of a battle, we came up with a top 5. So we have a top 5 women's. We have a top 5 in teams, and that can either mean a tag team or a trios team. And we have a top 5 men's poll also. So in short, the way we did it was we made our own polls. We assigned values, first place is worth the most, and so on as you go down. And then we added each other's lists. We added the lists together to come up with this. So it's kind of an average of our two lists. Let's see. Yeah, I have it here. So I'm going to start with the women. Number 5.
Wait, should we clarify that this is over the last, month?
Yeah, well, what we're taking... Yeah,
this is not, the best wrestler in the company that we're
right. This is
here.
Yeah, this is pretty much who have been the performers that have stood out in the last month or so. Correct. Yeah. As far as... And it takes into account in-ring, promos...
storylines,
whatever, acting, whatever a wrestler is called on to do, this takes it all into account. That's how we're looking at it. Okay, so it's not just in ring. If Bryan Danielson's not first place every week, don't blame me because it's not just in ring. Okay, so that's how we rated it. So without further ado, let me get to it. So our first ever ratings poll, the women's. I feel like we need a drum roll. 5th place, Willow Nightingale. Been having some solid matches lately. She beat Diamante, wasn't it?
Yes.
Beat Diamante on Collision, and it's been solid. Had the New Japan Women's Strong Championship, which she lost.
Correct.
But she'd had it for a little bit there.
Lost it to Julia, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And Stardom is something, not to get on a whole aside, but Stardom is something, we got to watch some of that, because I saw some today, and I was very impressed.
I know, I thought we couldn't find it.
We're gonna try and find it, because it looks awesome. So 5th place, Willow. she's an up-and-comer. A lot of upside on her. She's got a good gimmick. She likes having fun. She likes beating ass,
Mm-hmm.
So that's what people like to see in their wrestlers. So I think she has a good future in the company. Number 4, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, who's had kind of a rocky bit, rocky road for a little bit, but just this week she beat the Bunny to work her way into that 4-way at All In. So she's one of the top contenders to the Women's Championship right now. 3rd place, Chris Statlander, the TBS champion. Statlander, I don't think she had a match this week. She did not have a match this week. But it's AEW Women's. They only get so many. They get 2 matches a week. So Chris Statlander, just as far as being the TBS champion, has been on a roll in her matches. She's looked good. Her interviews have been fun and quirky. So she's earned that 3rd spot, has Statlander. And Kay, anytime you want to say something about these rankings, feel free to jump in,
Okay.
Number 2, and this one was close. Number 2.
This one was a tie that we had to do a tiebreaker for.
Yeah.
That's how close it was.
Well, we had to have a debate.
Yes, yeah.
Number 2, representing the Outcasts, Toni Storm, the former 2-time women's champion, who, lost to Hikaru Shida, lost her belt. Have we seen her wrestle since then?
I don't believe so. I think we've just seen a steady unraveling, and it's been delightful.
It's been very funny.
Yeah.
Her playing this, what's that movie? Sunset Boulevard, isn't it? Where there's the starlet, and she's growing older, but she has this palatial home, and she has this film viewing room, and she just watches her old movies on a loop, and has people come over trying to get her back out into reality, but she won't. She just wants to relive the past.
It's a good comparison.
I think it's Sunset Boulevard.
I have no idea.
God damn it, I can't think of the title. Anyways, that's going to drive me crazy. But yeah, those have been... The interviews with her have been good. Her coming out in like a dressing gown.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's not quite ready. And, different hairstyles and
like
things.
from like the 30s and 40s. Like it's like a Hollywood starlet, like you said.
And leaving, twice now she's left the eye of the camera, and we've seen a shoe come flying in at the interviewer,
Mm-hmm. At Lexi Nair.
Yeah. So funny stuff.
Yeah.
So hopefully, and Storm, she's in that women's 4-way at All In also.
Hopefully she'll win her belt back so she can restore her sanity.
And that may be what it takes. Which of course means that number 1, the rightful number 1, Hikaru Shida, the women's world champion. She was out of action this week, but she's the women's world champion, so she gets number 1.
I think she had a match on Rampage.
Oh, that may be it then.
Yeah.
All right, in our teams rankings, and remember, these can be tag teams or trios teams. We kind of lumped them all together. Number 5, Aussie Open, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. These guys have been on a roll, been looking good on Ring of Honor, basically running roughshod and going undefeated on Ring of Honor, yeah?
Well, I didn't use anything from Ring of Honor to rank them.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like, they've won their matches on Dynamite and in AEW recently, and they're just a force to be reckoned with. That Coriolis that they do is not something you can recover from, apparently, so I'm very much looking forward to their match with Better Than You, Bebe.
Yeah, it's one of the matches to which I'm most looking forward on that card, and it's on the pre-show.
I know, which is awesome.
So All In, we're gonna, we keep mentioning it. We're gonna talk about All In a little bit more later, or a lot bit more later. Number 4 in the team's top 5, the Young Bucks. So just in their career, you might think they've earned a permanent top 5 spot, but that's not how we roll around here. The reason that they're in the number 4 slot this week is they got that big main event win over the Guns, former World Tag Team Champions themselves, on Dynamite. So that put them at number 4, and the Bucks have been on fire as of late too.
Yeah, they beat the Hardys recently too.
Mm-hmm. And they've earned a shot, and they're facing FTR at All In. So yeah, they've earned their slot where they are. Number 3 on the team's rankings. There was some debate among this one, debate surrounding this one. Number 3 team, Better Than You, Baby. So they're the number 1 contenders to the AEW World Tag Team Championship, and they've won. Have they won every tag team match they've had?
No, or else they would be the tag team.
Oh no, right? They
lost to FTR.
They lost to FTR. Okay.
Yeah, that's why they're not champions.
Oh right, they lost to FTR, and now they're facing
Aussie Open.
I'm sorry, yeah, they're facing Aussie Open, Ring of Honor,
so they're the number
tag
1
team champions
for the Ring of Honor tag team.
Yeah, they're facing Aussie Open, the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, on the 0 hour. I think I misspoke a moment ago.
Yeah, you said.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
I got confused.
Sorry.
Yeah, Better Than You, Baby versus Aussie Open. Gonna be a great match. Number 2 team, FTR, the AEW World Tag Team Champions. They've been on a roll, been beating everyone they can. Let's see, I don't think they had a match this week, did they? No. They were in that big trios match back on the 12th with CM Punk. They won the main event.
They did not win.
They did not win.
No, the House of Black won, which is why the House of Black are still champions.
That's right.
We were there.
That's right. The House of Black won. I'm sorry. God, I'm just misspeaking all over the place. Well, that's why you're here. That's why we have 2 brains here. Okay. Usually I don't make mistakes.
That's true. I can vouch for you there.
So that's why they're second, and that's why our number 1 team is the AEW World Trios Champions. And by the way, we said we were going to do trios and tag teams for this. They're the only trios team that made it on the list. Mm-hmm. The House of Black, the World Trios Champions. They've been dominant. They beat the Acclaimed with Billy Gunn. They beat CM Punk with FTR. The Malachi Black, Buddy Matthews, and Brody King. What one of them lacks, the other one has. This may be the most perfect 3-man team we've ever seen in the United States. I can't tell you one much better. I mean, you might say the New Day. You might say the Fabulous Freebirds. You might say Demolition. But that's how good they are. They're in talks with those 3-man teams. House of Black just killing it. And they're not only taking the victories from their opponents, they're physically taking things from them as well.
Stealing items.
They took Andrade's mask, and he had to fight his ass off to get it back. And what did they take?
They stole Billy Gunn's boots
that
he had placed in the center of the ring to retire. They stole them from the Acclaimed and then threw them into a trash compactor.
Terrible. All right, so for the men's top 5, last but not least, number 5, Absolute Ricky Starks. So he made the top 5. He's been doing well, even though he is technically suspended from wrestling for AEW right now. He's went and got a manager's license. He did get a big win in the Owen Hart Foundation Memorial Tournament. So that goes a long way for Ricky Starks. And of course, got that win over CM Punk.
And then he got another win over CM Punk.
Yeah. So it's enough to put Ricky Starks in the top 5, that's for sure. 4th place, Orange Cassidy, the international champion. What can you say about this guy? He's been working his ass off, and he's made how many defenses? 20, 21?
I believe he's had 21 at this point. I think Wheeler was 21.
Yeah, successful defenses in a row. He's been one of the stories, one of the best stories, not just of AEW, but out of pro wrestling this year.
Mm-hmm.
Orange Cassidy. And he's doing it not with the same type of opponent every night. He's doing it with all these divergent talents going out there and doing these great matches. That's what proves a great wrestler, is being able to do it with anybody.
Yeah.
And he's shown a lot of people that he can really go. Number 3, Adam Cole, baby. So the man is the number 1 contender to the AEW World Title. He's in the main event of All In. So he's set up at the precipice for greatness, so it's up to him now.
Mm-hmm.
And you would think he's number 2, but of course we have a man who has a belt of his own still running around that he sprayed an X over, much like Hollywood Hogan used to spray the NWO on the WCW belt. CM Punk, number 2 spot, the quote-unquote real world champion, who's gone about saying, I never lost this, no one ever beat me for it, so until someone does, it's still mine, and I'm still the real world champion. So, good way to get some heel heat, that's for sure.
But he's still a face, isn't he?
Yeah, it hasn't worked as well as they hoped, I don't think.
Wait, you think they were trying to turn him heel and it didn't work?
I do.
They're doing a terrible job turning him heel. He's
such
an easy person to turn heel.
I kind of do. I'm not sure.
I don't think they were trying to turn him heel.
I'm not sure if they know which way they want him to go.
No, I don't think so either. I think they want him to walk that line, and depending on how loud the boos are at whatever city he's in is going to determine whether he's a heel or face that night, you know?
And number 1 spot is, of course, MJF, the AEW World Champion. Hasn't had a match lately here, but every time he does fight, he's always on it. A lot of times has the best match or the second best match on the show. And so the World Champion, he's had it for quite a bit now. So we had to put him at the number 1 spot. And so so there are our rankings. First time doing this. Hopefully you enjoyed having a little ranking segment. Kind of let you know how the things we value in wrestling. You know, where we place these people. And of course, you know, the belts have something to do with it. You know, that's why you see number 1 in men's, MJF, world champion. Number 1 in the women's, Hikaru Shida, world champion. Number 1 in the teams, House of Black, world trios champion.
But it's not all about the belts, because we have 2 belts that weren't on the list, you know?
Correct, yeah.
The TNT champion, Luchasaurus, and the FTW champion, Jack Perry, did not make our men's list. And MJF has had the title for almost a year. He won it on November 19th, 2022.
Wow, okay. You see his reign going past a year?
I do.
I don't know.
I don't see him losing to Adam Cole.
I don't know how you don't have him lose to Adam Cole at the pay-per-view.
He's going to...
They gotta pop that crowd at the end.
But the crowd loves MJF.
That's true.
But they are really into face MJF, and it's hard for him to beat Adam Cole and still be a face.
That match is going to be something.
Yeah.
I talked to Willie briefly online earlier today of Willie Does Wrestling. Hi, Willie. And I asked him what match he was most looking forward to at All In, and he said he said MJF versus Adam Cole. And at the time I said the 6-man with Omega in it. But it may be MJF versus Cole now, actually, now that I think about it.
That's like the world's hardest question right now. Which match are you looking forward to most at all? And because the card is so good. There's so many good matches on it.
Oh, yeah. So what do we got next, Kay? What's going on next?
We are looking at storyline recaps, and we got quite a few.
Okay.
So I'll tell you which wrestlers are involved in the storyline, and we'll just kind of like together recap what happened.
Yeah.
I feel like between the two of us, we should cover it pretty well.
Okay.
So to start off with, we'll do with what opened Dynamite. So we have Jericho and the Callis family, which includes Takeshita and, as we have now learned, Will Ospreay. Possibly, at least he's siding with Callis. And then with Jericho, we have Sammy providing backup. Callis makes a few appearances this week in different storylines, but I feel like this is his most significant one. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts or takeaways from the Jericho severed head segment?
Yeah. It was odd. I guess that's putting it mildly.
Mm-hmm. For those of you that didn't see, Jericho was meeting Callis in the ring to tell Callis whether or not he wanted to join the Callis family. And he announced, yes, he did indeed want to join the family. But there was this painting on it covered, like with a cloth, on an easel in the ring. And as Callis and Jericho were smiling and leaving the ring together, Jericho was like, hey, what's up with that painting? Let's take a look at it. I bet it's awesome. And it was Don Callis, like, shirtless, holding the severed head of Jericho in one hand and, like, a sword in the other. Mm-hmm. It was a really good painting. And that's when things sort of fell apart.
Yeah, so it's bizarre in that that he had this painting commissioned and brought it to the ring with him. You know, he couldn't just... Because he said the reason he did it was he expected his answer to be no. Callis expected Jericho's answer to be no, I won't be with you. So Callis couldn't just take no for an answer. He had to form a vendetta against Jericho. But now, hear that yes was his answer. Now he's now formed a vendetta involving Chris Jericho. Mm-hmm. So, just a dumb move by Don Callis. Mm-hmm. I think commissioning paintings with your prize recruit's head decapitated, or it's usually a bad idea, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't think they do that when they go to sign the kids for, like, college basketball and stuff, you know?
Have a backup painting of their severed head just in case?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. No, don't think they'd do that. So
it's a very strange way to start the feud of what I think will end up being a pretty good feud. I don't know where this is headed. It seemed like they were supposed to be turning Jericho face.
Yeah, I got that.
But it seemed like the crowd didn't get that. Mm-hmm. I think it came across more on TV, maybe. Yeah. Because the crowd was just stunned when Jericho fought back, and they didn't know who to cheer for, you know? Yeah. So it didn't come across as well as they had hoped. But Jericho, I guess, is a face now, and that's great. You know, it's 52-year-old Chris Jericho. Have him still going at it and still at a high level. Mm-hmm. Assume he's going to be putting together a faction. That's what he usually does in AEW. Mm-hmm.
Plus now he can still be with Sammy. Because they've been together from the start, I believe, haven't they?
Yeah, of AEW.
Yeah, start of AEW.
So they should stick together, you know. And there's a start of a faction. Jericho, Sammy Guevara.
Let's get Santana and Ortiz back.
Who knows when they're coming back? I don't know what's up.
Up next, we have the storyline involving MJF and Adam Cole, baby, as well as Roderick Strong and the Kingdom, kind of playing a periphery role, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Periphery role.
It's hard to say.
Peripheral or periphery role, either one, yeah.
So this week we saw MJF and Adam Cole going to the Outback Steakhouse.
They said they wanted to get where their enemies, what do they call it? I forget what they called it. They wanted to kind of get at their enemy's base in America is what they, was their idea, where they celebrate their culture.
And so we had MJF and Adam Cole also watching Crocodile Dundee 1 and 2, as well as some...
No. They didn't watch it. Adam Cole wanted to watch it, but MJF said no. And then Adam Cole had to be like, well, that was $5.99 out the window.
Yeah, but then I thought after MJF showed him the kangaroo videos, they did watch it because then they dress up like the crocodile hunter and talk like the crocodile hunter. So I assumed they watched Crocodile Dundee.
Oh, I don't know.
Just like not on camera.
I don't know.
Was that your Crocodile Dundee?
I don't know.
That's terrible.
It's terrible.
Oh my god.
This.
Just don't.
That's an alternate impression.
Oh my god. So you see them clothesline a random backstage hand into a pool of water that had been set up.
Double clothesline. Double
clothesline. Correct. Along with an inflatable crocodile. And we learned that MJF has developed a new move called the kangaroo kick, which Adam Cole does not seem to be a very big fan of, but MJF seems very dedicated to the idea of employing. Later on in the same night, we saw them in the ring, getting on the microphone, and then they were attacked by Aussie Open.
He calls kangaroos majestic beasts.
I would agree with that.
He's watching all these kangaroo fighting videos on his phone. And that's how he develops the kangaroo kick. Where he puts his hands out like a little kangaroo. And he puts his teeth kind of forward for some reason. Puts his teeth in an overbite. And he crouches down. And then gives a real quick front kick with both legs. And it's the kangaroo kick.
I like it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I hope that he gets to use it at all. And do you think we're going to see the kangaroo kick employed in a match?
I 100% think we're going to see it get employed.
Excellent.
I think it's going to be one of the highlights of the show, actually.
So I think the big question regarding this storyline is what's up with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom?
Well, I think the big question is who's going to turn first, MJF or Adam Cole?
Well, yeah, I meant the big side story, I should say.
Okay, what's up with Roderick Strong and the Kingdom? Fuck, I don't know. But, if MJF wants to turn heel again, there's a ready-made faction for him. MJF, Roderick Strong, and the Kingdom.
Yeah, but isn't the whole thing with Roderick Strong is that he hates MJF?
Yeah, but it could all be a ploy just to fool dumb babyface Adam Cole.
Oh, you think he's lying?
He may be.
So you think MJF is going to turn heel, not Adam Cole is going to turn heel?
Possibly.
Which one, if you had to bet right now, which would you put your money on?
MJF turning heel.
I would too.
Yeah.
One storyline that we already mentioned briefly when we were doing our rankings is that of the House of Black and the Acclaimed.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think the next move is? We saw the House of Black throw the newly retired, supposedly, Billy Gunn's boots into the trash compactor.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we go from here?
Well, it would be... It's strange because they've... By they, I mean the Acclaimed and other wrestlers have been acting not as though Billy Gunn retired, but as though he died.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what's next here is maybe a funeral for Billy Gunn.
What? No.
A remembrance ceremony for Billy Gunn.
I could see that, but not
a funeral.
Not a funeral.
No, I was kidding. But some sort of remembrance ceremony honoring Billy Gunn, something like that. That, of course, the House of Black crashes, and then the babyface have an answer to. Now, what is their answer? I don't know. That's what we got to figure out. Who the babyfaces have to rival the House of Black. Because right now it's just the Acclaimed versus 3 of the roughest wrestlers in the world right now.
Do you think it's going to be someone new? Like a new secret person that no one knows about?
I don't know. But word is, there is some new secret person headed to AEW who's supposedly a big free agent signing. I don't know. I know Tony Khan said he thought AEW was going to be the best show he's ever booked. All in, to say. It's going to be the best show he's ever booked. And it's going to have surprises. I totally expect to see Goldberg there. I'm going to be disappointed if we don't. I know a lot of people don't like that. I don't give a fuck if you don't like it. I like Goldberg. He's exciting. He still has that excitement about him. And he can get in shape really fast. And he still can go, when he gets in shape. We don't need him out there having 15-minute classics. Just short matches based on power, And of course, he's not the same draw as he used to be, but that's fine too, People change as they age. He's still a legend, and used to be a legendary power. Just an amazing beast to watch. And so still, to kind of see him and harken back to those days is a fun thing. Now, we don't need Goldberg going out there and winning the world title or anything like that. But there could be some interesting matchups for him I would like to see in AEW. Yeah, for sure. I'm a Goldberg fan, no doubt.
But is he who you would put with the Acclaimed? You got sucked down this Goldberg alley.
No.
Okay.
No, I can't see Goldberg with the scissor me and all that, that jazz. Yeah. No.
So who would you put with the Acclaimed? Would you bring Billy Gunn back?
Don't you think he's coming back?
I absolutely think he's coming back.
I think that's the simple thing. He's coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think.
What's going to be the thing you think that convinces him to come back? Are the Acclaimed going to go to him and talk him into it, or is there going to be something that happens to the Acclaimed that's so egregious that he comes back to save them?
Their asses, or bury them alive, or something.
Like the House of Black will have to do that.
Yeah. The House of Black, or cut into this remembrance ceremony and crash the fucking TV monitors over their heads, or some shit like that. Something rowdy. Yeah, something underhanded. To where Billy Gunn can't just sit at home and watch it. He has to come back.
All right. I like that. I like that plan. So our next storyline, we got Kenny Omega with Jim Ross sitting down to talk about his plans for All In. And while they're talking, out comes Callis. Mm-hmm. I forgot his first name. Don. Thank you, Don. I was going to say John Callis, and I knew that wasn't right. Don Callis comes out, starts talking smack to Kenny Omega. And then while getting smack talked to, he then gets actually smacked by Jay White and Juice Robinson, who come out and start beating the crap out of him and cause him to go to the local medical facility. So, at the local medical facility, we see Adam Page waiting outside the hospital, outside an ambulance, actually, drinking beer. So, this led to what match at All In?
It's Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Hangman Adam Page versus Juice Robinson, Swingblade Jay White. Switchblade Jay White, thank you. I do that all the time. Switchblade Jay White, and who the fuck is the third person on their team?
I think it's Konosuke Takeshita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So, do you think that this BCG, as I've been calling them, but I guess that's confusing with the BCC being a thing. So, the Bullet Club Gold, do you think this is just a temporary, quick feud with Omega and Hangman? Just for the sake of All In, so they have some kind of storyline going into this match? Or do you think this is going to be their new thing since the Elite aren't feuding with the Blackpool Combat Club anymore?
Good question. I think it will be their new thing.
What an awesome thing.
Yeah.
We're going to get some good matches.
Yeah, I mean, I think having Don Callis led, I think it might be like a three-way kind of feud.
Mm-hmm.
Because we'll have Don Callis' group, and then you have the Bullet Club Gold,
Mm-hmm.
and the Elite, you know? So you have both teams of heels kind of facing off against the Elite.
Yeah, I kind of took it as, like, Bullet Club Gold are, like, mercenaries, and that Don Callis, like, hired them to beat up Kenny Omega. That's how I like to.
That's kind of how it came off.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it came off.
So we said we were going to talk about Toni Storm, but we already talked about her when we were doing our
just what she's doing. Her,
Mm-hmm.
I guess we just would repeat ourselves.
Yeah.
Just what she's doing is great. It's very entertaining, and it's nice to see her get some time to do some work on her character.
Yeah, the only thing I think we should add that we didn't really mention before was that Lexi kind of hinted at cracks beginning to form in the Outcast group, and that Toni Storm denied that there was any tension or any friction in amongst the Outcasts. And so I guess we'll have to wait and see it All In how she and Saraya do in the ring with each other and maintain their friendship if possible.
If they're wise, they'll just double team the whole time.
Yeah, but eventually only one of them can win.
Yeah, true. And
then our last story that we're going to talk about for this week's segment is Miro.
Okay.
What you got?
Well, Miro, just kind of his situation. They had him doing this thing for a bit, with the Redeemer and his hot double-jointed wife and all that, and had him winning matches. And then what the word was around the internet, at least, was that, he didn't want to do jobs. He didn't want to lose to people. And so Tony Khan said, all right, you don't want to lose. I fucking got nothing for you. How can I make anything work if you don't want to lose a match? Which is just, that's how wrestling works, You got to give the other guy something, or, you got to make him look like somebody, or it makes you look like nobody by beating him.
Yeah.
Duh. That's the most basic point of the thing, is you got to make the other guy look good so you can look good. But it looks like Miro's back, and he's certainly being booked in the same way, so maybe he's back to his old shit where he's refusing to lose. It looks like he's headed into his feud with Powerhouse Hobbs. So maybe he's changed his ways. He's seen the light. I hope so. And again, I don't know if these stories are true. That's just what the internet says about him. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, well, it is definitely true that he's going into a feud with Powerhouse Hobbs because they have a match booked for All Out.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting about All Out. I've just blocked it out of my brain entirely.
Well, that's because All In is, like, so massive that you can't even see, like, All Out's shadow because it's so big,
True. They've announced matches for All Out, and I'm like, so what? That's been my reaction. Well, I mean, because you're going from, 80, whatever they're doing, 85, 87,000 goddamn seats. They're going from that down to, I don't know, where they're doing All Out, or I don't even know where they're doing All Out. I guess that's the point.
I feel like everything I do is in Chicago.
I don't know.
That's like, if AEW is doing a show and you're not sure where it is, if you guess Chicago, you'll be right like 75% of the time. So, up next, we have some news items.
Okay.
In this segment, we're just going to cover rumors and confirmed stories that have taken place in the past week regarding AEW and or wrestlers that work for AEW. So the first one is exciting. It is also dealing with All In, and it is that Jericho and his band Fozzy is going to perform Judas, Jericho's entrance theme, live at All In.
Pretty awesome.
That's super awesome. That's definitely going to be the biggest show they ever played, right? 80,000 people, like, by far. That's awesome. I'm super excited for him.
Mm-hmm.
Has a wrestler ever sung their own entrance while entering? Like, how's that going to work? Do you think he's going to be, like, walking to the
No, I think
singing?
they'll have it as its own separate thing.
Oh, okay. So it won't be, like, the song, and then he goes to the ring and wrestles?
He may, but I don't think he'll be walking to the ring while he's singing. I think it'll be like a normal performance for them.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. Speaking of All In, Dave Meltzer says that Danielson and Omega were originally planned to be facing each other at All In prior to Danielson breaking his arm at Forbidden Door 2.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Danielson is expected to return in October, if not a few weeks earlier. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, Danielson versus Omega, that would be the match I'd want to see, you know, or CM Punk versus Omega, or CM Punk versus Danielson. One of those. So you got CM Punk in there, who's kind of a brawler style, but with some technical stuff as well, and kind of for the lapsed fan, maybe someone who's been out of wrestling for several years. You tell them, hey, CM Punk is back. He's with AEW. They'll say, what? CM Punk is wrestling, and yeah, they might come back. Where you got Bryan Danielson, who I think is the best technical wrestler in the United States today. For some reason I can't say United States. There it went. I may be meeting him in November. I haven't decided yet. The money. And then also you have Kenny Omega, who of course is talented on the technical side, but also has some aerial mastery as well, and some brawling. I mean, Kenny Omega puts it all together, as you know.
He's the whole package.
He is not the total package, because that's Lex Luger.
No, he's the whole package. Yeah.
So any combination of those guys, yeah, just drop them in, and it'd be great. So yeah, it sucks that we missed out on Danielson versus Omega, but
it's exciting that he's
MJF
coming back
versus
soon.
Cole is cool, huh?
Yeah, I said it's exciting that he's coming back soon.
Who?
Danielson.
Oh, yeah. MJF versus Cole is going to be a great match, though. I mean, we've already seen... didn't we see them in an Iron Man match?
We did. Yeah. And remember Adam Cole needed 5 more minutes?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Also in the news today, we have some stuff with Tony Khan. So Tony Khan did a press conference, or is a press conference and a media conference the same thing?
I don't know. And they also got a scrum.
Okay, well, it was a media conference is where the stuff came from.
Okay.
So he mentions that he's interested in possibly starting a European federation, wrestling federation, but that he doesn't want to discuss it until after All In, which begs the question, why bring it up then?
Yeah.
Unless maybe a reporter asked him about it. And then as of today, FTR versus the Bucks is still happening at All In, this might be a good point. Do you want to talk about Cash Wheeler?
Yeah, so what happened, allegedly, in July, I believe it was, back in July, Cash Wheeler was on the highway and was in a car, and there was another car, and allegedly he brandished his weapon, a semi-automatic handgun, I believe is what they said, and pointed it at them. There was some road rage dispute or something. Now, whether I don't know him, whether he was drunk or on drugs or what his deal was, I have no idea.
Or whether the event even happened.
Or whether it actually happened at all. We have no idea. Yeah, right. who knows? But he was booked. He was arrested in North Carolina and
Florida.
In Florida, I'm sorry. He's from North Carolina, and I remember now. Yeah, he was arrested in Florida. Thank you, Kay. That's why she's here, to keep me honest. Yeah, he was arrested in Florida, and at first, I mean, aside from that, if it's true, that's a terrible thing, but to look at it from the wrestling point of view, which is why we're here, that would be terrible to cost the FTR and the Bucks match, which as of right now, as we said, is still ongoing. Now, England, they have a right, if they want to, they can deny him entry on the grounds that he has a felony pending. But considering who Tony Khan is and who his father is, I'm sure he's going to go right through. Now, were it you or I, we wouldn't be going to see Big Ben. We might be in the prison cell with Big Ben, but we wouldn't be going to see Big Ben. But he will be going to London, it looks like. So, yeah, that's what's up with that. So, if it's true, hopefully he gets the... if it's true, obviously he needs some sort of anger management or substance abuse or some sort of issue there, because that's not something a person in a good place mentally does, So hopefully if he really did that, he gets the help, whatever the help he needs, he gets the help that he needs to get past those kinds of things. So who knows how it's all going to shake out? I don't know.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it'll take a really long time because the court systems are super slow.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can tell you that.
So, back to Tony Khan. Our last piece of news is that Tony Khan says that Sting is on the greatest run of his career. Do you agree or disagree?
No.
That seems like a ridiculous statement. Like, what? When was the last time Sting had a match, even? It's been like a month or two, right?
No. But...
when was the last Sting match, then? He's had a match in the last month?
Well, he just recently invaded some independent show. Did you see that?
Oh, that's true.
I think he's saying that Sting's having the most fun doing this kind of stuff, like going through tables, which is something he never did. He didn't do that in WCW.
Oh, okay. See, I'm not that familiar with his WCW days.
Yeah, you've seen some before Sting was there, and you've seen a little with Sting, just a little bit with Sting.
Is WCW Sting, is that Crow Sting or Surfer Sting?
Both.
Both.
He was only,
okay.
Yeah. He was only WWE a very short time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He spent more time in TNA than he spent in WWE.
Oh. So as someone who's kind of followed Sting's career, would you say this is the greatest run of his career?
No. If Sting says it is, then great for him. But I was looking just randomly. Here. Clash of Champions 2. Dusty Rhodes and Sting beat NWA World Tag Team Champions Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson by DQ. Clash of Champions 3. Sting beat Barry Windham by DQ. Let's see. Clash of Champions 5. The Road Warriors and Genikiru Tenryu battled to a no contest with Michael Hayes, Junkyard Dog, and Sting. So, no, I'm going to say just literally opening up a random wrestling fact book and reading out 3 matches.
On, like, the first page you opened it to.
Yeah. I'm going to say no, this is not the best run of his career. When he was in WCW facing legends. In 1991, Rick Rude defeated U.S. champion Sting for the title. Main event of the next Clash of Champions, Ricky the Dragon fucking Steamboat and Sting defeated Rick Rude and Steve Austin.
Oh my gosh, let's watch that when we get done recording this.
That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. That sounds super awesome. I love all of those people.
Yeah, I've never seen that match.
Do we have Clash of the Champions on Peacock?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Clash of the Champions 18, January 21st, 1992. Main event, Ricky Steamboat and Sting versus Rick Rude and Steve Austin.
Okay,
Yes,
I feel like you've made your point.
I made my point. I'm sorry, I could read that book all night. But yes, my point is no.
Okay.
No. I feel like he's not on the best run of his career. If he's enjoying it, good for him. I'm enjoying watching it. But it's not the best run of his career, no. That probably was when he was like NWA World Champion, WCW World Champion. Mm-hmm. I think so.
I'm enjoying watching it, except for Joker Sting.
Oh, like, yeah, I want
that guy to go away and never come back.
Yeah, that was terrible.
It was not good. So that wraps up our news segment, and then each week we're going to end our show with a topic of the week.
And it's at some point soon we're going to take suggestions from you, our fans, for some topics. So, but this week we picked the topic.
Mm-hmm. And the topic this week is entrances.
And so we're going to talk about different aspects of entrances, good, the bad, and the different federations, how they do entrances. So, Kay, what's your first thought when you think of a wrestling entrance? What do you think?
With AEW or in general?
Just in general. Tell me what you think.
I think of pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also think of that moment where the wrestler pauses and then does their special move.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are the two things that come to mind. Like, and the special move has to be like in time with music in some way, you know? And so does the pyro. Which I guess I'm almost saying like the entire thing that makes up an entrance.
Yeah, you are.
The music, the pyro, the special movements, you know. I think of Rhea Ripley's entrance as a really good example of what an entrance should be. Mm-hmm. You have the music, you have a special move that's not only timed to the music, but hers is also timed to the pyro, or like Cody Rhodes with his whoa. That's another thing. Like, if you can have audience participation in some way in your entrance, then that's going to put you over, like so much more than almost anything else could.
People love being part of the show. Yeah.
They do, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Whether you're a face or a heel.
Yeah, I mean, well, like, Rhea Ripley's a heel, and I feel like they get into her entrance.
That's why if you're a heel, you got to shut that shit down, though.
Yeah.
Shut it down.
I guess maybe it's just me that gets into Rhea Ripley's entrance now that I'm thinking about it. The crowd doesn't really react at any point. I just really love it.
Yeah, when I'm thinking entrances, I'm thinking just, excitement. I mean, back in the day, that's the first time you saw your guy, And I say guy because when I was a kid, we didn't have women's wrestling. It was few and far between did we have women's wrestling. We had more little people wrestling than we did women's wrestling. Just to show you how little women's wrestling we had. But I'm getting off the point. Entrances, you think about your guy. When I was a kid, I would memorize, and you're talking about movements choreographed. Mm-hmm. Now everybody has them. It didn't used to be that way. It used to be some guys would just walk to the ring or kind of, give a little flex, kind of spin around, let the audience see them a little. But now everybody has 10 different things they do on their way to the ring.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I would take a tape recorder, and I would hold it up to the TV and record their entrance music. And then I would make a tape and label it with the different superstars' entrance music. And then I would pretend to be that superstar, coming in to wrestle my pillow. And so I would do the movements. In time to the music, So that's what I think of when I think of entrances. And I'll tell you number two what I think of when I think of entrances. And that is the grandest stage of them all, as they call it, WrestleMania. You can't help thinking WrestleMania when you think of entrances. I mean, whether it's Shawn Michaels, you know, you always see that him gliding down on the what's it called?
Zip line.
On the zip line. Thank you for WrestleMania 12, for his destiny there. You know, whether it's the Undertaker arriving in a hearse or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania, whether it's Dominic Mysterio arriving in the police, like the police car,
like a paddy wagon.
A paddy wagon. Thank you.
Yeah.
For this past year's WrestleMania, yeah. Entrances, I think WrestleMania.
You know, when you say wrestling entrances, this should have been my first response, and it wasn't. But like when you say the word entrances in relation to wrestling, in my head, I hear the glass crashing sound of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And to me, that is like, that one noise is like the epitome of an entrance. Like all of the excitement just starts like instantly as soon as you hear that sound.
He had maybe the best entrance ever.
Yeah.
Because the glass breaks. And as he said, when you hear the glass, you know it's your ass. And the glass breaks, and then he comes just strutting down to his rock music, and he's ready, talking his shit, you know? And he's ready. You know? Yeah.
What's your favorite entrance that you think most people would not understand why you love it so much?
Oh, my God. That I think most people would not understand why I love it so much. That's tough. You gotta give me a minute on that. Let me ask you.
Oh, you want me to tell you mine?
Okay.
So mine is Shane McMahon's. I love Shane McMahon's entrance. I love the music. I love his weird shuffly dance that he does. And I love that I get so excited when it happens because we see him so infrequently now.
God, when people wouldn't understand why I like it, I might have to go with someone like the Head Shrinkers.
Can you describe their entrance for those of us that are unfamiliar?
So the Head Shrinkers were Samoan. They're part of the whole bloodline. Samu and Fatu. In fact, Fatu, who became Rikishi, is Jimmy and Jay's father, and Solo. And Samu and Fatu, they came out in the sarongs, and that was called, and in tights, and they would come out and just kind of, they were wild savages, you know. It's a gimmick you would never do nowadays, but they were wild Samoans, you know. And so they would look at the cameras and they would stick their tongue out at it and look at it menacingly and just stuff like that. Those touches that get you over as a creep, things like that. I was going to say Razor Ramon, but everybody can understand why you like that entrance because it's cool.
Yeah. So bringing those back to AEW, since this is our AEW show.
Yeah. Yeah, we
have talked on the record, I think both of us, about AEW entrances and how you feel specifically like it is leaving much to be desired. So, do you feel like AEW's entrances need to be as produced and as big time as WWE entrances?
Yes.
Or
I
yes.
100%.
Okay.
I think they 100% need to. I think.
Why?
Because I think people look at your entrances, and that is what they think of your product. And I think they think, oh, they're only putting that much pyro. He must not be that good, or she must not be that good, or oh, that. He doesn't pose here. He doesn't stop and pose 3 times. Oh, he must not know what he's doing. He must be young. He must not know he needs to pose during his entrance. So, one thing, and usually I'm all for being different than WWE, especially nowadays. One thing they need to make themselves more like WWE is their entrances. Because that's one place where they get outclassed. They get blown away by WWE. Because WWE, from the start of their entrance to the time they hit the ring, you understand who this character is. By their body language, by their entrance music, by the lighting, by the weird augmented reality things that they do.
Mm-hmm. I don't care for those.
Oh, I love those.
No,
yeah, it's cool. It's such a good touch. And by the ring announcer, so much goes into a WWE entrance. I mean, they're first class, and AEW is third class, if that's first class. So
they're in steerage.
They need to step their shit up on the entrances. I know they want to feel different, and that's all fine and dandy, but like I said, it's something where people look at that. They look at your production, and on the entrances, they're used to being wowed, and if you don't wow them, I'm not sure how seriously they will take your product. And now, I don't give a fuck. Personally, I'm going to watch, I'll watch two luchadors who come out to no music at all and just growl at each other if it's going to be the best match. But most wrestling fans are not like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm okay with them increasing their production value in their entrances, as long as they don't make their entrances long.
Right.
Because sometimes I feel like with WWE, it's like, oh my god, I have to listen to this entrance again, and then it just goes on and on, like Seth Rollins.
Oh yeah.
With that song,
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns, where we fast forward through their entrance because it takes so long.
Yeah.
I don't want AEW to get to that point.
Right. No. They just need to step closer to WWE.
One entrance I think they do perfectly, well, two, is House of Black. I think their entrance is spot on.
Mm-hmm. Which is very, very, you couldn't say that with many, but their entrance is spot on. House of Black.
The other one is Orange Cassidy.
Yeah.
With his one firework. And the white sheets of paper, basically, that just say in Sharpie what pictures are supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm. No, you hit the nail on the head, and I would agree. Those are the only two that are done properly.
Mm-hmm. The Elites are kind of cool. When they come out and do their pose with the silhouette.
It's okay. It's not enough for who they are and what they're supposed to be to that company.
Yeah, they need more pyro, huh?
Yeah. I mean, these guys are supposed to be the Ric Flair, the Tully Blanchard, the Arn Anderson of that company. Mm-hmm. And if you watch the show, that's not how they're treated production-wise. Mm-hmm. Not at all. Not at all. But yeah, so entrances make they affect us, even if it's unconsciously, they affect us, folks. I think, stop and think about who some of your favorites are. And are their entrances good? Do their entrances suck? Think about some of the people who you think suck. Don't you think their entrances suck too? Just think about it for a little bit, that's all. I'd be interested to hear what we all have to say about entrances.
And you can make your entrance special without having to have pyro. Think of Dalton Castle. He's got, the world's greatest entrance. And there's zero pyro, zero special effects. It's just him and his boys and his magic, you know?
Talk about a great entrance. The best entrance in wrestling today, Dalton Castle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dalton Castle. Yeah, if you've not seen this, the man comes out in a glittery jumpsuit, and he holds a cape, holds the cape open to where it looks like peacock wings. He has boys scantily clad. They're called boys. They're men though. Don't worry. He has scantily clad boys, as he calls them, rhythmically clapping along to his song, as he struts his way down to the ring in this jumpsuit-looking thing, talking to the cameraman. And then spins the cameraman around, still talking to the cameraman, and then feeds the boys out of his hand as though they're baby chicks. And as Kay said, this has no special effects budget, no nothing, but totally gets across his character that he is some sort of insane homosexual It basically is what Dalton Castle's character is, yes.
Yeah. He's like too fabulous for words, so it has to be conveyed visually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And if you want to see Dalton Castle's entrance, he was on, I think it was Dynamite this week.
Collision.
He
was on Collision. He lost to Jay White.
Jay White,
in a good match.
Yeah, but he did his full, like, normal entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the boys were with him.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out. It's worth it. Dalton Castle is magic. Any final thoughts on entrances?
What's the best one you've ever seen? What's your favorite one?
Dalton Castle is my favorite entrance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, by far.
He's got a good one.
It's so good.
He's got a good one.
He feeds imaginary food to grown men and then twirls the camera like he's in a love story. And then he steps on the backs of the boys to get into the ring, and then they strip his jumpsuit off of him after he raises these giant wings, and it's just so good. What's your favorite entrance?
Yeah, you almost convinced me now. Man, I just when I hear entrance, I think probably the glass breaking Stone Cold, you know, the glass breaking, and him coming out and just strutting to the ring ready to kick ass, and he did it for years in the late 90s and early 2000s, carried WWE, WWF for years. Being involved in the most in the biggest storylines for WWE and WWF, and it never got old because Austin was such a good actor, and the character was so much an extension of himself that people bought into it and they believed it and they loved it. And Austin's main opponent was his boss, and a lot of people can relate to that shit. I can tell you that for sure. Mm-hmm. A lot of people got off on seeing Austin beat up his boss. So
just like how now people get off on seeing Rey Mysterio beat up his kid.
Yeah.
People love seeing their desires come across.
But I'm getting off it. It's an entrance that just fits with that character perfectly. Same as we're saying about Dalton Castle. It's an entrance that explains who they are, and you get it. By the time they're at the ring, you not only get who they are, but you want to cheer for them.
Cool. So when can they hear from us next, Asa?
Well, the next time they can hear from us is going to be Thursday. No, it's going to be Thursday when we do our preview show for AEW All In. Thank you, Jesus. Mm-hmm. I made it to the end of that sentence eventually. So yeah, All In is Sunday. It's Sunday afternoon. Thank the Christ. Yeah. I'm glad about that. They need to do all the pay-per-views on Sunday afternoons, or Saturday afternoons, rather. But it's Sunday afternoon, so it can be, nighttime. It'll be nighttime in England, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're doing our preview and prediction show for All In on Thursday. And then the next time you can hear us after that will be Saturday, our first episode of our other new show, WWE Weekly, which will be very similar to this show, but not the exact same. Why? Because that's boring. Why make things the same? So it'll be very similar to this format, but we will be talking about some different topics than we talked about here tonight. But we will have things like the ratings and the match results. Those things, of course, we'll have. But the topics we discuss will be very different with WWE as opposed to AEW.
If you want to make sure that you don't miss one of our upcoming shows, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as rate or like this podcast. If you aren't following us on YouTube, be sure to follow us there, subscribe. You can catch our podcast on YouTube, as well as other video content that we have been producing.
More and more stuff coming to YouTube by the week, I promise. And also, I want to add in, I made this announcement online, but I'm going to announce it to the podcast listeners here. Starting around September 1st, we're going to start doing retro reviews of WCW Halloween Havoc. And not only that, but we're going to probably review maybe one or two of the NXT Halloween Havocs as well.
To get you in the mood for the spooky season.
We're going to do that through September and through October, so get hyped. And if you have a specific Halloween Havoc you would like to hear about, try and get at us. So you can get at us on Twitter, at NoBonesWrestling. That's at NoBones, RASSLIN. Or at Kay Fabulous 80. That's at KAY Fabulous 80. And folks, as Mick Foley would say, have a nice day. Bye.